Here we are, Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond. They're finally here. Like any Pokemon game, I usually get the nerves waiting to get my hands on it, but I suppose this time was different because I really wanted to get a playthrough done as soon as I could. I struggled with what I was going to actually do. I had ones that I wanted to do, but I couldn't get the Pokemon without trading, so I decided to look at what I had. I know a lot of people will be doing Nuzlocke, and that's going to be up next, so I decided to go with can you beat Shining Pearl with just a Jirachi? I do have a Jirachi saved up for Emerald one day, and it will see the light of day. Jirachi, the wish Pokemon, is it? Oh, I can't really be bothered checking. It's got a base 100 of all stats, it's got solid typing in Psychic and Steel, well for competitive battling. As you can see, this isn't going to be very much fun. If you do like my content, please smash the like button as it all helps. And if you do like my content, please subscribe and hit the notification bell to hear when I release my next video. My goal is to get 10,000 subs, and this may be silly, but this is my goal and I hope you can make it happen. Now before that, please listen to the safety announcement of drop bears. So 2021 has not been a fun year for us Australians, what with the risk of drop bears coming from all directions and a virus keeping me inside, which meant I've had to spend time with my own wife. With these rubbish times, what better way to keep yourself entertained than collecting Pokemon cards? And the best place to get them is from stingers.com.au. Stingers have the most up-to-date box sets in stock and at good prices. They do live booster pack openings, booster pack battles for you adrenaline junkies, and frequent duck races. They also have a Facebook page where the group often show their pulls, expecting everybody's praise, when in reality we all want to find out where they live and sneak in at the middle of the night. Stingers is a local business to me and I really want to see it succeed. And you'll find the website and the Facebook group links below. And remember, drop bears don't fear Pokemon cards. I listen to Rowan and call myself HBT. I attempt to call my rival many names, Knobhead, Numpty, and they won't have it. Damn it, Nintendo. However, they do allow Belcheese, so Belcheese it is. Now, I will be going through my thoughts of the new game as the adventures goes on. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is I love the way the game looks. I'm really on board with the chibi style. I have been since I first saw it. I love how the world looks alive, and in my opinion, they got it spot on. Now, I know people want a remake like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, or even in Sword and Shield treatment, but I was happy with this. I carry on and get a chance to get my starter as the killer Starlies attack me. Now I can't get Jirachi until later on for a while really, so I just picked Piplup, which is who I picked all those years ago when I was I wasn't really a child, was I? Oh god man, I'm so old. Now while I get the chance, I do like how the battles look as well. Gen 4 in my opinion was some of the best looking games up until Gen 6, and it's appropriate the remakes bring the best looking games back to life. I continue with the story and get told to talk to 3 random clowns. Really? I just can't see how children are allowed to go chase and look for weird clowns. Have they had their criminal history checks done? Another point I need to talk about, how shiny is that Pokemon Center floor? Like, that's insane. Like, I've never seen a shinier floor in my life. I meet with Bellsniff for the first time, and I'm not covering this battle because it's not Jirachi. But either way, I managed to brush him aside. I go meet Rourke and tell him to get his arse to the gym, and before that, I go get my little penguins level 14. Now, I'm going to cover this just because it's my first gym battle of the new games. The gyms haven't changed, but the battles themselves look great. He starts with Geodude, and Piplup uses Water Gun to finish it off in 1. Next is the massive Onix, and I don't have the speed on it and it hits with Rock Tomb. I use a Water Gun to activate its Sturdy. The next turn, Roark uses a potion, which is great for me as I can kill it off that turn. Finally, it's Cranidos, and this thing is an absolute beast. It starts with Leer, and I use Water Gun and take it down to the red. Roark then uses another potion, which hands me the win and my first badge. Trust me when I say the battles are not going to be this easy. A little later, I go speak to this guy who hands me the amazing Jirachi. I reset many times until I get a nature I wanted. Eventually I get an adamant version, which at the time I thought was the best plan, but on reflection, I think I made the wrong call. I called him Godspawn. I have no idea why, I just thought it sounded cool. Godspawn needed to do some leveling up before it was useful, and this was painful, like really painful, like with how long it took to get it done. I eventually got it to level 16 so I can carry on with the story. In future videos I won't be covering the underlings, but in this video I will because it just made me laugh. Godspeed gets its first real test against Commander Mars. I hate how it just says Commander there, looks rubbish. She starts with Zubat and Godspawn can hit it with the Confusion to wipe it out in 1. Next is Perugly and he uses a Fake Out and then hits me with Thief. I use Confusion, it does about a quarter. It then becomes a bit of tit for tat. Both of us use our berry and eventually I confuse it. It hits itself in Confusion and I can just clear it up. After this I try to dodge as many trainers as I could because I don't want to be too high a level because it would make this challenge a joke. However, one problem I'm going to have is the character doesn't control very well at all. Whereas like in Link's Awakening, those controls are tight, these are not, and it gets even worse when I get a bike. If I've got any gameplay, I will just show it. Godspawn's first gym battle is here against Gondinia, and unlike the next challenge I'm going to do, I'm not worried about this one at all. She shot with Cherubi, and I hit it with Confusion, and a crit takes it down by 2/3. In reply, I can only use Growth and I kill it next turn. Turtwig is next, and it takes the Confusion well, but uses Reflect for some reason. I take it down to the red next turn and confuse it. Turtwig uses a Razor Leaf, which does nothing to me at all. Then Gardinia uses Super Potion, and I get back to using Confusion again until Gardinia uses another Super Potion. Eventually I finish it off and they're down to the last Pokemon, Roserade. I use a Confusion and it barely does anything. It uses Petal Blizzard, which is not very effective. The Roserade then uses a Berry after another Confusion hit. We keep going back and forth, and eventually I win the battle and a Confusion enough to win my second badge. We crack into Team Galactic's headquarters to go meet Commander Jupiter. She starts with Zubat, and one Confusion is enough. Next is Skuntank, which could be a problem because of its typing. I go to Swift, and this thing has Flamethrower, and I get burned, and then it has Snarl, which is insane, and there's no way I can win this. This is a really hard battle because I really didn't have much to play with. I would love to have Return or something like that, but I just figured out Jirachi's not going to have much access to many physical moves at this point. And this took me a long time, although not as long as some future battles are going to be. The Zubat was never going to be the issue, so I added Stealth Rock to my moveset just to get a little bit of extra damage. There was not much more I could do apart from level up, had to really. Eventually level 24, I managed to hang on for the Flamethrower with 1 HP and put down the Skunk. Now with this, I get my hands on the bike, which is an absolute mess. As I said, if I get future footage, I'll show it, but it handles so bad, like it's one of the worst things I've ever handled. I head to the Underground, which is one of the new features of the game. Now I do like this feature, although it is frustrating that we can see Pokemon walking around freely, which would have been great to add to these remakes. Like, I'm not going to spend time here, but on the next video I will be. After entering Mount Coronet, we meet with Cyrus the first time, and this is one of the most frustrating things about Diamond and Pearl. He's barely in it. Platinum fleshed him out so much more and made him a much more interesting character. This is one reason I'm disappointed that these games don't use the plot and the Pokédex from Platinum. Heart Gold and Soul Silver used the plot from Crystal and fleshed it out. Maybe a patch or a DLC could add more, but we'll have to wait and see. I get told by Fantina to go away and do one because I'm weak. Despite this setback, Belcheese wants to go again. He starts with Starly and I set up the rocks while the bird uses Double Team, but I've got Swift, which never misses. Now due to Belcheese's great battling skills, he loses his bird. Next is Buizel and I finish it with a critical Confusion. Ponyta could be a pain, but I've got the speed and Confusion takes it down to under half. It uses a Flame Wheel, which really doesn't do that much at all. The next turn the horse goes for Tail Whip to lower my defense and I can finish it off. His final Pokemon is Grottle and I hit it with Confusion and it takes about half health. In response, it can only use Razor Leaf, which does nothing, and eventually it goes down. After playing with some sliding doors, we get to face the next gym leader, Maylene. She starts with Meditite and I'm now armed with Zen Headbutt, a physical move, and I can smack it in one. Next is Machoke and I still have the speed, so I take that out in one as well. Finally, it is Lucario, who could hit me just as hard. I hit it and do about half, and then it misses a Screech. I go after it and down it goes. Well, that was easier than I thought it would be, but I'm not going to complain. I tried to keep my level below the gym leader's highest Pokemon to make it fair, and kept dodging battles where I could. However, the last trainer before Wake on the last Pokemon... Bugger. Well, no one died, so we decided to keep going. I'm now going against Crash Away to win my 4th badge. Now, Wake could be a problem because his Pokemon no Crunch, which will do a chunk against my Godspawn. Although, how does he get his hair like that? Like, there must be an amazing stylist in this world. He first starts with Gyarados, which is not good because I get an attack drop because of Intimidate. I start with Zen Headbutt and get the flinch. I throw another Headbutt and get another flinch before Wake uses a potion. Now this works out great, but then I miss the Headbutt. I get lucky next turn as I get a critical to finish it off though, so it all worked out. The Quagsire is not a threat because of Grass Knot and I can kill it in one. Floatzel is his final Pokemon and it's faster than me. Bite does about a third and a Headbutt makes me bring out its berry. On the next turn he bites me to bring my berry out. I take it to the red with a Headbutt which triggers Wake to use a potion, but then I decide to use Grass Knot and take it to the red. I survive another bite which leaves it open to be hit with another Grass Knot, knocking it out and winning me my 4th badge. I go chase the Grunt, who I later come to realise is a terrorist, but Belcheese interrupts my investigation and wants a battle. He once again starts with Starly and sets up Stealth Rocks while he again goes for Double Team. I miss the Headbutt, then it goes for Endeavour, you cheeky git. Next turn I do land the Headbutt to kill it in one. The Buizel comes out and gets Headbutted to fall in one as well. Next is Ponyta, and this time it can't survive being attacked by me and falls in one. Finally it's the Grottle and it tanks the Headbutt well, but Bite doesn't do that much damage, which means I can finish off poor Belcheese the next turn. I go back hunting the terrorist, but Cynthia decides to interrupt me. Like, why don't you stop him? You're the champion, or at least call the police. Oh wait, they're not in this game. Cynthia then asks me to go heal some Psyducks that have mysterious headaches and gives you some medicine. Again, why don't you? Surely you have the tools to do this. Why are you asking me, someone you've barely met? I should add, how does the game expect me to remember to speak to this person to get hold of Defog? At least give me a hint rather than having me go through internet guides to remember how to do all this. And whilst on my journey, I witnessed this karate master go full Ryu and try and Hadouken the Pokeball. I just thought that was quite funny. I learned more about the legendary trio from Cynthia's grandmother and get to see Cyrus again come from a little chat. Now in the Platinum version, you're meant to fight him for the first time, which makes complete sense. Not in this game, he just walks off and does nothing, which is really annoying. Another new feature this game added is that HM moves are no longer need to be attached to a Pokemon and can be picked from your Poketech, which is located on the top right of the screen. This makes complete sense to do this and was one of the good quality of life aspects the game added. I entered Fantina's gym to complete some math questions, which after several beers I really had to think about. I was at an all-day party and look, I hadn't seen these people for a long time because of the lockdown, so yes, a lot of drinks were had. Now despite my alcohol-induced mind, I made it to the top to come face to face with Fantina. She starts with everyone's favourite balloon, Drifloon. I headbutt it and get the flinch, which is great as I can kill it straight away. The Gengar comes out and uses Confuse Ray on me, which is a pain, but I can break through it and one headbutt is all I need to finish it. Her final Pokemon is that thing with a hat, which I can never pronounce, who uses Phantom Force so it can come straight in and do a chunk and activate my berry. I snap out of Confusion to hit it hard and send it into the yellow. Fantina then uses a Hyper Potion which does nothing as I send it back into the yellow. The next turn she goes for a Confuse Ray and I miss the headbutt, by heck. It disappears again whilst I smack myself. Once it returns, it sends me down to 15 HP, but luckily I'm able to snap out of Confusion and this time the headbutt does hit, knocking it out and giving me my 5th badge. I've now come to realise that I'm really lacking good recovery options. Life Dew is pretty meh, and so's Wish, and I've been too lazy to go seek the leftovers from the underground, so I've mostly been stuck with berries. However, I remember I do have access to Drain Punch and also a Big Root, so I thought that's going to be the best method going forward. I go fight Belcheese in what I've always found to be the biggest step up in the challenges against him. He now has a Staravia which has Intimidate. I go use Drain Punch but it doesn't do as much as I want. In fact, it doesn't even do half. I manage to wipe it out but I'm left with half my health left. Buizel comes in and I go for the Zen Headbutt which can't get the kill. It uses Brine to take me down to my final quarter of health whilst I finish it. Next was Heracross and due to its typing it was always going down. The Ponyta now becomes a real threat as it can survive a headbutt and I get lucky with a flinch to see it off. Grottle is last and I go for a Drain Punch to heal up a bit, but it uses Leech Seed which is just great. I then go for a Zen Headbutt which does nothing whilst it had Bite and the Leech Seed finishes me off. This was not an easy battle with the Ponyta really giving me a headache, and even if I got past that I still have the Grottle to deal with. Oh, if only I had Fire Punch, how much this game would be different. Eventually I get to Grottle having put the stones up and the first headbutt gets the flinch. The second takes it down to its last third and a bite from Grottle can't kill me. Another headbutt leaves it with a slither but then it gets a critical bite to leave me with 1 HP. After I take a break I use Drain Punch to finally win this match. Against Byron I need a new plan as the stones aren't going to cut it anymore, so I decided to use Substitute to give myself a bit of a buffer. The Bronzor comes out and decides to use Sub straight away whilst he uses Trick Room. It then uses Sandstorm. Why? It doesn't work, you idiot. I then just have to use Drain Punch. It can use Flash Cannon which can't even break my sub, which is great as I can kill it and then go into the match against Steelix with full health and a sub up. However, this thing has Earthquake which gets rid of the sub straight away. I use the Grass Knot which is about half and thankfully I can remove it with another one before it gets another shot at me. Against the Bastiodon I use Grass Knot and it does nothing to it. However, it uses Thunderbolt which is nothing to me either. I bring out another sub and its Thunderbolt can't even break it. Pathetic. I then hit it with a Drain Punch and dead. Okay. This battle then made me worry for later on against Big Bertha because she's a ground type user. I think I'm going to be screwed because I don't think Grass Knot's going to be enough to get past her. But that's for later, so I can't be arsed worrying about it really as I've got other things I need to do. I get told to go to the library where I'm ordered to find a hidden Pokemon rather than call the police when we feel the building shake. It turns out to be a bomb at the lake. Now look, I've got a huge problem with this bomb. Okay, so this bomb blew out all the water of the lake, leaving perfect steps I should add. But do you know how much force it's going to take to actually do that? Well, I don't. Like, I'm no scientist, but I bet my life that the size of that bomb will be bigger than what this single grunt can carry. Hell, the bomb could be the size of him and it's not going to be big enough. I should pose this question to that guy who does all those anime maths, but let me know in the comments what you think. Now I have to look past this glaring error to go fight Commander Saturn. He starts with a Kadabra and a Grass Knot doesn't really do much, but Reflect doesn't help it either. I just kept going with Grass Knots until it eventually falls. Next is Toxicroak, and one headbutt is all it takes to knock it out. Finally, it is Bronzor. Look, I'm just fed up of this thing. Throughout my journey with facing Team Galactic, it just seems... Oh yeah, I do beat the Bronzor, I'm just ranting now. It just seems that when you join Team Galactic, it's like, oh, you need a shit haircut, a Zubat, a Bronzor, and some other generic dark-looking Pokemon. What about this Charizard I've got? No. Get rid of that Charizard, release it, or euthanize it. I next have to fight Mars again, and I'm covering this because she now has a Bronzor. Screw you, game. Now, even though the world was in trouble, I still had a gym leader challenge to take care of, and this led to me playing in the snow. Now, even though I've done this puzzle a million times, I still get confused by this. In addition, if you don't know, if you step into this gap, you, my friend, have wrecked your game, as you're stuck. For the love of God, do not save. Now, after having some fun and completing the puzzle, I come face to face with Candice. She starts with Snova, and Godspawn goes straight after it with a Drain Punch and finishes it in one shot. Next was Sneasel, and it has the speed over me and uses Hone Claws to up its attack and accuracy. I use another Drain Punch, and even though it has a berry to try and weaken the effects of fighting moves, it did nothing. Next is Medicham, and now I've got the speed again. I use Zen Headbutt and get the flinch. Candice tries to heal it, but we've seen this before. I get a critical Zen Headbutt and wipe it out in one. A Bomb the Snow is the final Pokemon, and I use Drain Punch, and it does over half, which is a good start. It activates its berry, but it's still in the kill range. Well, then it uses Aurora Veil, the knob. I try again, and of course I now can't kill it. It used Earthquake, which thankfully does nothing. Candice uses a potion once more, whilst I just kept using Drain Punch to keep my health up. Earthquake wasn't scaring me in this case, and I just clicked Drain Punch once more, and down it fell to get my 7th badge. I witnessed Jupiter laughing at Belcheese for being weak, which was a bit mean, as I could have done that for her. At this point, we start the end game with the story elements, and there is one element which is not here, which is Cyrus' speech. I thought this was amazing back in the day when I played Platinum, and for it not to be here in these games takes a lot away from Cyrus' character. This again goes back to why I think the Platinum story should have been the one adapted. I battle my way and come face to face with Cyrus. He starts with a Murkrow, and a Drain Punch does over half, and it uses Nightshade back at me. The following turn, one punch is all it needs to finish it off. Next was Golbat, which was easily disposed of with a headbutt. Sneasel jumps in, and a Drain Punch was always going to knock this thing out to get me the win. Now, for some strange reason, Cyrus gives us a Master Ball, which just baffles me. That has always baffled me playing these games. I beat Saturn. Yes, I'm not covering that. I can't be bothered. He just lets me release the Lake Trio. Surely they shouldn't have let me do this. They should be keeping me captive, or shoot me, or do anything to stop me doing anything which could stop their plan from going ahead. After battling more Team Galactic grunts, I make my way to the top of Mount Coronet. We then witness Cyrus summon forward the amazing Palkia, although I do have to laugh that the art style of the sky is exactly the same as the DS version. We then take part in a double battle with Belcheese against Mars and Jupiter. Again, I'm not covering this because it was easy, and this wasn't really the problem at all. The problem was coming up. With no time to save, we witnessed the Lake Trio free Palkia from Cyrus' control. Although I did think about this. What happened if I just threw the Master Ball and shouted, "Gotcha, bitch!" With Cyrus' plan now ruined, he was fuming and wanted one more match. Now, here is the problem. The Honchkrow. I couldn't kill it with 2 Drain Punches, but it could kill me with 2 critical Night Slashes. This actually took me a few attempts, and it was really annoying because I had to do the double battle every time, then watch all the videos. Look, it was just an absolute knob. Eventually, I had to go to level 49 where I learned Meteor Mash, which was now amazing. The first hit nearly killed it, and I get the attack boost. The Honchkrow then used Defog, which I thought was odd. Cyrus tried to heal it, but I was able to finish it off quickly enough. Next was Gyarados, which removed my recent attack boost, but Zen Headbutt was able to do half. I then got scared when I saw Earthquake, but it didn't even do half to me. The following turn I finished it with another Zen Headbutt. Finally it was Weavile, and like Candice, it had a berry to reduce the Drain Punch, but I nearly killed it. It could only use a fling back at me, and I could finish it off with one more punch, putting it to an end. Finally it was the amazing Crobat, and one Zen Headbutt is enough to kill it, to ending one of the most lackluster bosses in Pokemon, well, for this version. I then go face Palkia and just throw the Master Ball at it to save time. The world was now saved and I had one more gym leader to face, and it was against the electric trainer Volkner. He starts with my favourite Pokemon Raichu, and it has the speed on me and uses Volt Switch to bring in Apion. As I was prepared for this, I used a Meteor Mash, killed the monkey and got the attack boost. Raichu came back in again and used the Volt Switch to bring in Octillery. I used a Drain Punch to get my health back against the Octopus. Well, is it an Octopus? Well, it doesn't even matter, it didn't even get a turn. The Raichu comes out again and does the same thing again and brings in Luxray. It has Intimidate to lower my attack. I use a Zen Headbutt to nearly kill it. Now on the next turn I hit it again and got the flinch. Falkner tried to heal it, but as always, this was the best thing that could happen as I was able to wipe it out. Finally, it was back to the beautiful Raichu, who could only use Volt Switch, which you were seeing can't really kill me, and one Zen Headbutt was enough to get me the final badge. With the badges now obtained, I now made my way through Victory Road. It was good to do a proper Victory Road again after doing the rubbish ones in Pokemon Crystal and Gold, and this was an absolute refreshing change. It helped keep me busy and let me ponder about what level I should be going to Elite 4 at. I settled on level 63, being 3 levels lower than Cynthia's Garchomp. Now looking at the Elite 4, I could just see this was going to be a nightmare. However, before that, I still had to face Belcheese one more time. Belcheese starts with Staraptor, which is always a pain as it was going to lower my attack, and I went straight for it with a Meteor Mash and I got the attack boost straight away. Oddly enough, it used Sunny Day, which gave me the opening to finish it. Next was the mighty Torterra, which could be a real pain. I used Zen Headbutt hoping for a flinch, but didn't get it. I get hit with an Earthquake, which did a chunk. I gambled on another Headbutt, and this time I did get the flinch, and this meant I was able to finish it next turn. Bellsniff sends out Snorlax, which was great because I could use Drain Punch to help get all my health back. It does have high horsepower, which does a lot, but the second Drain Punch is able to get my health back to a healthy level. Floatzel was next, and I did another Drain Punch to get my health back up to full. It used Crunch, which didn't do anything, whilst a Drain Punch does the job. Heracross, as we've seen previously, was always going down with one Zen Headbutt. Finally, it was Rapidash, and I'm faster than it, and one Headbutt was all it took to get me the final win against my cheesy rival. Now it's Elite 4 time. You may have seen in my battle against Belcheese, I had Swagger as a move. Well, I was going to be relying on this move heavily, as I was really struggling with what combination of moves I'm going to use to help me get through the run. And I was about to discover this is one of the hardest Elite 4 runs I've ever done. I start my quest against Aaron, the Bug-type user, and what would I not give for Fire Punch again right now? He starts with Dustox, and one Zen Headbutt is enough to put it to sleep. Next is Heracross. We all know the outcome here, ladies and gentlemen. Beautifly is next, and as beautiful as it is, it went down with one Headbutt as well. But here comes the first main hurdle, Vespiquen. I know I can't kill it in one, so I decide to use Swagger on it, and then it ends up hitting me and doing a chunk. I try Zen Headbutt, which doesn't even do half, but it ups its defense. I go for Swagger again, and this time it did hit itself. I try another Headbutt, but it takes it down to the red, which activates its berry, before hitting itself once more, and it takes it back to the red, which makes Aaron use a potion. I try Meteor Mash, but it's doing nothing, so I try Swagger again. This time it breaks through and takes me down to 1 HP. Now at this point I reset, and I'm going to explain why. When it said that Godspawn toughed it out, now this is a mechanic from the Let's Go series and allows Pokemon to save themselves from what would have been moves that would have knocked them out. This is also the same from having the ability to dodge moves which they shouldn't have dodged. Now if this happens, I reset, because in my eyes it shouldn't have happened. Look, I try and make it as fair as I can, most of the time. I go back and try and use strategy this time, using a substitute to take the damage for me. The good thing is that Vespiquen is normally quite weak and doesn't have enough to break my sub. I get an attack boost from Meteor Mash and use a Zen Headbutt to finish it off quite easily. Drapion is his last Pokemon, and the sub is crucial here, and as we can see, Drapion is faster than me and would have finished me off with that Night Slash. The sub broke, but I hit back with a Meteor Mash to finish it off in one hit to make it one Elite 4 member down. But then, oh my god, it was time for Big Bertha. This was an absolute nightmare. Being a ground type user with Pokemon with high defenses meant I was in trouble. Bertha starts with Quagsire, who isn't a threat because of Grass Knot, as I can kill it in one. Next was Golem, and I know this thing has Sturdy, so I can't one-shot it. I use Swagger on it and gamble it's going to hit itself, which it does, so I can then wipe it out with a Grass Knot. The thrusty Sudowoodo comes in and starts to Sucker Punch to do a chunk to me, whilst I hit back with Meteor Mash and get the attack boost and kill it in one. Next is Whiscash, and I use Grass Knot, but it has a berry to reduce the damage. I then hit with Bulldoze, which doesn't do a great deal to be honest, and it gets the speed drop, which really means nothing. I try another Grass Knot, which again doesn't get the kill, and it actually takes a third to get the job done. But then, out comes Hippowdon. This thing is an absolute monster, and there's no way any of my moves can kill it in one. I try Grass Knot, and it does over half, so only a critical's gonna work. I then get wiped out by Earthquake. Well, I don't, but I should have been. There was only one way forward, and that's to use Swagger against the Hippo and hope for the best. However, every time I did get to it, it didn't hit itself. Every single time. Again and again and again and again. Oh, Golem needs to hit itself or I lose as well. Did I not mention that? This took me 3 real life hours. Both myself and my computer's memory was losing the will to live. Finally the Hippo hits itself. Yes, it took 3 hours for Swagger to pay off for once. I then hit it with Zen Headbutt looking for the flinch, and then it hits itself again, and I thought it was done. Okay, look at that. That's ridiculous. Bertha then uses a full restore to cure its confusion. Thankfully on that turn I get a critical Zen headbutt, and one more is enough to finish the match. This was only the second match, and I still have 3 more to go, including a fire type user. Well, ish. And that's next. Flint, the man with the most stupid haircut, is next. Well, to be fair, this generation has a few weird haircuts, hasn't it? After the previous battle, I realised I was never going to beat the rest of the game, so I ate the remaining 3 rare candies I had to take me to level 67. But I made a pact with myself. If you can't do it from this point, then the challenge is over, because of course I could come back at level 100 and do it, or something like that. He started Rapidash, which is a great start really. The horse, as expected, is faster than me, and a flame charge does about a third, but I received that back from a drain punch. However, its ability Flame Body comes up, burning me and pisses me off, so I have to start again. I can't do it if I'm burned, it's a matter of fact. I also reset the battle if I'm put to sleep by hypnosis, because I'm just a sitting duck and he still has the whole team left to attack me. After a few attempts, I get to Steelix in the best position I can due to draining its health from the horse. The thing is, Steelix is a monster, and once again it becomes a gamble on swagger, but it has crunch, which breaks through and kills me 1. This again was another nightmare, and I did so many things to go right. It took me well over an hour to get past the Steelix, as it finally hits itself in confusion, and I can hit it with Drain Punch to knock it out. I moved on to Lopunny, who was an easy kill with Drain Punch. Well, I didn't kill it, but a Fire Punch is doing nothing to me, so I can reclaim my lost health the next turn. Flint's next Pokemon is Drifbloom, and I hit it with a Zen Headbutt to activate its berry, but then it misses the Will-O-Wisp, which was critical. I then was able to finish it next turn. Finally, it was his monkey, and I knew this thing had a sash. It also has the speed over me. I get hit with a Fire Punch, which does a chunk to me, and I throw a headbutt whilst it hangs on. Now I know Flint is going to use a potion to heal it, and then I miss the headbutt, which means another Fire Punch killed me. I was about to throw my Switch out the window at this point. Thankfully, the gods were in my favour, as I actually got back to the monkey again in the following attempt, and the same thing happened. I survived the Fire Punch and took the monkey down to its sash. I watched as Flint threw out a full restore, but this time my Zen Headbutt did connect, which meant I was able to get the win and take me past the 3rd Elite Four member. Although I should ask, is Flint trying to become a Super Saiyan, or is he struggling to go to the bathroom? I'll let you debate this in the comments. With only one more Elite Four member to go, it's Lucian. And by this point, I was shattered. It had been hours by this point. First up is Mr. Mime, which cheers me up as I could smash it straight in the face with a Meteor Mash and take it out in 1 and get the attack boost to boot. Next is Mediachan, and 1 Zen Headbutt is easy enough to finish it off. Drafbreak is here, and I use Meteor Mash, and it goes down in 1 as well. Alakazam is no threat. Well, it could have been. It uses Nasty Plot and then dodges a Meteor Mash. It then decides to use another Nasty Plot for some reason, and I can smash it in 1. Finally is the Bronzorg, because of course it is. As this thing is terrible, I use a Swagger on it to make it useless, but it hits me with Payback, which takes me out in 1 shot. Bayek. Luckily I got to the bell again next turn with ease, but my health being about a third. I use a Drain Punch, do over half and activate its berry. It uses Payback, which takes me about under half, and I hit it with a Drain Punch and take it to the red. It then misses the Earthquake, and the next turn it uses a potion, which is great as I can finish it off with 2 more Drain Punches. Now, before we moan, let's talk about this. Yes, the Earthquake missed, and it shouldn't have. Normally I would have restarted, but in this case let it stand. Why? Because I was done. I was so tired at this point, and even if that Earthquake hit, I think only a critical would have actually finished me off. Also, unlike the other matches, this was only the 2nd attempt at Lucian, unlike everyone else which took hours. I would have been able to get to Lucian back in that position and I would have just done it next turn, but I was absolutely goosed. Now if people want to call this run invalid, feel free to do so, but as I said, I was done, I was crook, I was goosed, and I still had Cynthia to beat. And Cynthia herself, well, it's a nightmare. Her team is so well rounded, and there's only one way I'm going to do this, and that's pure luck. Out of everything, I am scared of the Garchomp, and I know if I don't have a sub up going into that battle, I lose. End of story, as Earthquake will finish me off in 1, although I pretty much think it will do. The final battle is here against one of the best champions in the series. She starts with Spirit Tomb, and this thing can hit me hard, so I have to swagger it immediately. The first turn I get hit with Dark Pulse, which is terrible, and my berry is already gone after turn 1. I am able to get the substitute up as it goes for Sucker Punch. Turn 3 it goes Sucker Punch again as I reconfuse it, and now I need to kill it. It hits itself in confusion and Meteor Mash does about half its health. I get an attack boost while it gets its berry activated. The next turn, however, it does kill my sub, but I do get rid of it. Thankfully though, I get another attack boost making me +2 attack going into the Gastrodoom battle. I try Zen Headbutt to get the flinch and then kill it next turn. Unfortunately, I missed the next turn and get hit with Rock Tomb, but the following turn I do finish it. However, against Roserade, I get hit with a Shadow Ball and I fall. I was crushed by this, but I didn't want to stop as I was so close to the end. However, it took so long to get anywhere. I spent an hour trying to get past the Spirit Tomb and Gastrodoom, but the knobs kept knocking me out again and again and again. As I said earlier, I was not going to go back to the start of the Elite Four, and I was just going to have to keep going. I eventually started feeling lightheaded. I think I was going at it for so long, I just thought, screw it, there's too much RNG involved for me to win this battle. I gave it one more go, and then I was just going to give up. I once more used Swagger, and straight away it hits itself. It hits itself again, and I get the sub up. It then hits itself again, and I kill it with a Meteor Mash, but I don't get the attack boost. Against the Gastrodon, I go straight for a Meteor Mash, doing no damage at all, but this time do get the boost. I dodge a Rock Tomb and go for another Meteor Mash, and get a second attack boost. I then get hit with Rock Tomb, and the sub is still alive. I went to use Zen Headbutt, but missed, and get hit with a Rock Tomb, but the sub still hangs on. The next turn, I use a Zen Headbutt and finish it off. Roserade comes out, and this time I am faster, and one Zen Headbutt finishes it in one. My eyes are about to explode at this point. Lucario is next, and this is the first time I'd even seen it. It hits me with Aurora Sphere to get rid of my sub, and I smash it back with a Zen Headbutt to kill it in one. Next is Milotic, thank God, but I do need the sub up, so I swaggered the Water Snake, and it hits itself and gets the burn because of its Flame Orb. I managed to get my sub back up, and the berry kicks in. The gods were clearly looking down on me because it hits itself again. I then use a Zen Headbutt, and it takes it down to the red with a critical hit, and now I get the flinch. Cynthia uses a full restore, so I hit it again with a Zen Headbutt, and it takes it down to under half health. One more Headbutt is all I need to take it down. And out comes the Garchomp, and I'm in the ideal situation, but then it dawns on me. It's faster than me. I've got to kill it in one or I lose. It uses Earthquake and gets rid of my sub, and I hit it back with a Zen Headbutt and get a critical hit to knock it out in one and win the match, win this challenge, and what's even better, I finished this challenge on level 69. Nice. I couldn't believe with what's just happened. I was shocked and I wanted to cry. It'd been 6, 7, 8 hours I've been attempting to beat the Elite Four, and it finally been done. I watched the ending credits happen, waddled down a corridor, and placed my name in the name of champions. And honestly, what a way to finish this challenge. It was amazing. I've just started my next one, and it will be a hardcore Nuzlocke using ground types. And then I found out Zwiggo's already done this, but look, I want to give it a go. And until then, I will see you all again soon. I've been HBT, and this has been the beautiful Godspawn Jirachi. Bye bye.